My name is Kelby Snow, and for Project 2, I decided to compare and contrast classical conditioning and operant conditioning by Pavlov and Skinner. So here we go. Classical conditioning, sum it up, Ivan Pavlov came up with the theory of classical conditioning. He came up with the idea that you can take an unconditioned stimulus and compare it with a neutral stimuli and for a conditioned stimulus. An unconditioned stimulus is a stimulus that elicits a response. So in his example, it was the meat making the dog salivate. A neutral stimuli is a stimuli that elicits with no response. So in his case, it was at first the bell, and then a conditioned stimulus is a stimulus that once a neutral stimuli is compared with the unconditioned stimulus, it will eventually make where the conditioned stimulus results in a response. So it was the bell being paired with the meat, eventually making the bell making the dog salivate once being rung. In operant conditioning, B.F. Skinner said that reflexive behaviors only account for just a small portion of all actions. Speaking back to Pavlov, he proposed a behavior called operant behavior because they operate on the environment in apparent absence of an unconditioned stimuli such as food. So his work was based on behavior and consequences. So where he got operant conditioning from is the use of pleasant and unpleasant consequences to change behaviors. So that's where he got his theory from. So he used what's called a Skinner box. It contains a very simple apparatus for studying the behavior of animals, which allowed him to study the behavior of a rat with a bar to press, a food dispenser, and a water dispenser. So the rat noticed that if he pressed the bar, he would receive a food pellet, and then eventually got to the point where he would just press the bar and not do anything else. And one thing that he noted was that any other renditions could have been made to make the rat do something to achieve food, so it wasn't just pressing the bar that could be done. The important thing was that it was in a controlled environment, so there was no other influence on the experiment. Some similarities between the two is that one, if behavior is not enforced, then it will fade away. Both theories require that the behavior has to be repeated over and over again, so eventually it can be an automatic response. So the rat would forget, the dog would forget that a bell would make him salivate, or the rat would forget that the bar being pressed would give him food if not repeated over and over again. Another similarity is that both theories are behavior-based, so each one requires some type of behavior to have an influence in which, in return, initiates a response or a consequence. So the ringing of the bell initiated the dog to salivate, and the mouse eventually learned that pressing the bar would get him some food. Some differences. One is that classical conditioning results in a reflex, while operant conditioning results in a voluntary behavior. So the bell causing him to drool is a reflex as a response to an action, while the rat has to enforce himself to press the bar to get him some food. Another one is that classical conditioning is based on stimuli and responses, while Skinner is used based on reinforcement. So Pavlov used different stimuli to obtain a response, while Skinner used an enclosed environment so that the rat could react to it. In conclusion, the summary, operant and classical conditioning are based on two behavior theories that have influenced our learning behavior still to this day. Both of these theories are still being used today with everyday life. Today, both classical and operant conditioning are utilized for a variety of purposes by teachers, parents, psychologists, you name it. In animal training, a trainer might utilize classical conditioning by repeatedly pairing the sound of a clicker with the taste of food. Eventually, this clicker alone would produce the same response that the taste of food would. In a classroom setting, a teacher might utilize operant conditioning by offering homework passes as good behavior rewards. So, and I also got, this is a chart of Pavlov's theory. It was used in our text. The before condition, you can see that the meat makes him salivate, the bell doesn't. And then they pair the two together, and then eventually the ringing of the bell makes the dog salivate. So that was the example that was used in the book. And then I researched Skinner's box, and I found this example. So this would be Skinner's box with the food dispenser, water dispenser. It's got some lights in there, a loudspeaker. And as you can see, the rat has to enforce himself to do everything because there's no other influence in the box. There's no outside influence coming in to make the rat do anything. So that was Skinner's box. So that is my project. So thank you very much.